Hello and welcome to my new show called Accidentally Furry, where I want to talk about games, films, series, whatever, media in general, which contains a lot of what people call furry bait. Furry bait meaning we watched or played a lot of this and we obsessed over an animalistic or anthropomorphic character, or just animal or whatever, which is what made us want to be one ourselves. Meaning, we wanted to become furries. I mean, when you look at me, I actually look a little bit like Robin Hood, right? The fur color and everything. So yeah, now you know what I kinda obsessed over. And that's how I got here. Basically, I'm going to do a lot of things that YouTuber Saberspark did, only that I'm actually a furry. And without further ado, I'd like to get to the first topic of the first episode, Breath of Fire. Basically, I'm going to talk about all of the Breath of Fires, some of the designs of the characters and not so much about the gameplay. I mean, depending on the game, I might go into gameplay like with Twilight Princess, where you transform into a wolf. But with Breath of Fire, I'm mostly going to talk about the character designs. But first I'm gonna shove myself a little bit to the side here so everybody can see the screen, not standing in front of it anymore. Good. And well, look at them all. Just look at all the characters. Just by looking at them, it becomes abundantly clear that this cast is very, very special. We have weird ox man, we have weird wolf man, we have weird fish man, we have weird mole man, and even the characters that look human are not really human. But let's start at the beginning. So here's Ryu. Ryu is basically the main character, and he looks human, yeah, but he's actually a dragon. Furthermore, Ryu or whatever you want to call him is literally Japanese, meaning dragon. In the games, Ryu will always turn into a dragon one way or another. His race is called the Brood, and in battle he transforms into a dragon to do a massive amount of damage. Not even flex tape could handle that amount of damage. That's a lot of damage! And this character, Nina, she transforms into a big bird. Yeah, she's an avian. She's got a bird zoner here that will help the party get from point A to point B. The only real human in this troop is called Khan, this little dude here, and even he can transform into a animal monster, whatever you may call it. He has a fusion with most of the animalistic characters and will become stronger during the fusion. Actually, fusing them turns them into one of my favorite characters. My favorite is when he fuses with the wolf and the fish. And my second favorite is the one where he fuses with the wolf and the ox. And there's also this little dragon that they all become when they all fuse together. So in this game, even the only human that's really human becomes furry bait. That's basically all I want to say about Breath of Fire 1. However, we have more Breath of Fires to cover. And Breath of Fire 2 has a lot more furry characters. I think in Breath of Fire 2 not one character is really human. Which is basically what inspired this video in the first place. Last time I played Breath of Fire 2 over the winter break, I actually noticed how bizarre this cast feels. We have a monkey, we have a horse, I think, we have a frog, we have a plant, we have a dog, we have a cat, and we have the dragon and the bird that I mentioned already in the first game, in the first segment of this. In this segment I want to focus on two more characters, the cat and the dog. Cat belongs to a race called Voran. In this game she's the first Voran to appear, and they become a real staple of the Breath of Fire series. There's one in Breath of Fire 3, there's one in Breath of Fire 4, I think there's also one in Breath of Fire 5. Even though Breath of Fire 5 is really... most of the characters, most of the races don't really show up in Breath of Fire 5. But the Warren, the tiger ones, they actually do. Next I want to talk about is Bo's race. Bo's race is called Grass Runner. These are basically animals, all of them. Some more, some less. Some only have like dog ears, some are entirely dogs. In Breath of Fire 3 there's a character with dog ears that look like feathers in her cap, basically. And in Breath of Fire 4 there's two grass runners that are more or less dogs. One is entirely a dog, and one is basically, you could say a dog girl. Since I'm throwing the rest of the Breath of Fire games into here, I might as well talk about one of the last characters that I had in mind. This is Gar. I don't really know how his name is pronounced, but he's a pretty buff looking dragon dude. I mean, a game all about dragons, and then there's this guy showing up. The majority of the artworks on the MSG website are about either him or Cat, with half of the artworks on the MSG website being about Cat, and of the remaining half of it is about Gar, and the rest of them are the less liked main characters, and some minor characters too. Sometimes I wonder how many Scalies are actually around because of Breath of Fire and because of Gar, and because of the dragon transformations from Ryu. Speaking of which, I wanted to give more details about Ryu's dragon transformations. Ryu always has a lot of different dragon transformations, but I think the fan favorite and my favorite system is the one in Breath of Fire 3, where you pick 3 genes, and depending on what you picked, Ryu transforms into a different dragon. For example, he becomes this really western looking dragon, like a real dragon, and then there's this one where he's bipedal, and this one where he's a real big behemoth. Well, that is basically all I have to say for this episode. And yeah, making this episode was kind of fun. I had fun talking about one of my favorite games, one of my favorite game series, and I kind of wish they would make a new Breath of Fire that isn't a mobile game, because Breath of Fire 6 ended up as a mobile game, and I don't think it ever released outside of Japan. Well, since we can't play it, I'm not going to talk about it, but I think I have seen images from some of the characters, and some of them were pretty good looking. They would definitely count as furry bait. However, I can't really tell you much about it. But thank you so very much for watching. See you next time!